Hey guys, what's up? It's the TheKnifeEnthusiast here, coming at you with a new video on what I like to call modifications for your Balisong. So I really didn't know how to classify this type of video because I really wanted to do something, tips or, helpful, reviews or something on different products that, you use to maintain your Balisong or to modify it. So in that category, I have like O-rings, polishes, waxes, cleaning cloths, torque screws, all kinds of stuff. So I just classified it as modifications. So in today's video, I'll be talking primarily about O-rings and their use for T-latches to keep them out of the way. So, in the past, most of you already know this, is that T-latches tend to get in the way, and some T-latches even are so bad to the point where they'll start to damage your other handle when they hit it. So, there's a couple different solutions you can do. One is to take the latch off in general, which I never really recommend because the latch is kind of there in a sense, so that way when you're doing certain moves you could feel that latch on the bite handle, so you know that's the handle that cuts you. And when you take that latch off, you don't really have that feeling of this is the bad handle or this is the good handle, because they're basically identical. So I never really recommend that one as much, but it is a possibility that you can do if you so choose to. Second possibility is you can wrap a rubber band around your Balisong at the latch, and that'll keep it straight as well, but it looks hideous, looks terrible, cheap, and I used to do that, but I just could not stand the looks of it. So I finally got some O-rings, and they are the perfect solution. They are very unnoticeable, they hide pretty well, and they do the job just like a rubber band would do, where it keeps it very stiff and straight. So there's two different ways that I've learned to use O-rings over the past week or two that I've been using them. So the first way requires a little bit more effort, and I have it demonstrated on the DDR Tactical here. Now, main problem with the DDR Tactical. Love the Balisong. There's only really one flaw that I found with it. The latch. It's on this very long rod where the latch is in the middle, so it will literally go up and down and side to side. So I don't know how to do this at this angle, but up and down and side to side. So it will just wobble everywhere, and it chips the other handle, and it was just terrible. So I wrapped a rubber band around it, but it looked hideous, like I said. So when I got these O-rings, this is the first thing that I decided to do. Now, my first time with O-rings, which I will show you on the Tachyon 2 in a minute, I did that version, but then I couldn't actually pull it off on the Tactical, because on the first version I just put two O-rings on and put them at the bottom, but that was supposed to stop the range of motion, but because these handles are kind of angled, as you can see there, kind of rounded and angled a little bit downwards, the O-rings would just kind of roll off and they would not do anything. So I took some tweezers and I wedged one O-ring down into the handles. So I'll show you. You can see there's clearly two O-rings there, but if you look from this angle, it only looks like there's one. So I've wedged it down in between the handles enough so that it does the job the right way. Now I prefer this method, but it is also a very kind of risky method in my opinion. So what you need to do is you need to put two O-rings on your latch, put them at the bottom, just kind of resting there. Then you would take your tweezers and pinch the tweezers together and stick the tip in between the two O-rings and just kind of pull up. Let me see if I can do it here. You can see what I'm doing with my fingers. That's what you would do with the motion of the tweezers. And you just want to keep wedging it down until you can't really see the bottom O-ring from the handles. Now, you don't have to have it so you don't see it from the bottom of the handles, but the further down it is, the more effective it will work. So that's just something to keep in mind. But in another sense, you don't want to overdo it because you might end up scratching your handles from over wedging it, and then your tweezers just come out and scratch your handle. So it's a little bit of a risk in that sense, where you might have the chance of scratching up your handles. It does take a little bit longer than the second method I'm about to show you, but it is more effective in my opinion. So you can flip this knife for a pretty long time and the latch will always stay straight. Now you're probably wondering, what's the purpose of having two O-rings? If you already have the one down below to keep it straight, what's the purpose of the second one? Well, the top one is to keep the O-ring in place. So instead of the O-ring after flipping kind of backing up slowly out of the grooves, the second O-ring is to keep it on top, so when it tries to back out, the top O-ring is already there, so it doesn't back out. And so all you have to do for maintenance is, if you want to make everything down here tighter so it stays stiff, is just take your fingers and push down the O-ring on all sides, and it will also push down the bottom O-ring a tad bit so you can keep your latch in place, and it is very sturdy. Now this method only works if the first method, this method is only something I would recommend if the first method doesn't work at all, or it just doesn't work enough. So this method is a little bit more work, so you have a little bit of a risk to scratch your handles, but if you can pull it off, it is a very great way to keep your latch stiff and straight. So the first method that I found was actually pretty straightforward, so I'll just take this one real quick. You literally just take 2 O-rings and you put them at the bottom of your latch. So what this does is, you might think it doesn't work. It does have a little bit of wobble, as you can clearly see here, but as you can see, it doesn't go past this kind of space. So it will never hit your other latch, and it will never get in the way. It will wobble a tad bit, so it's not going to get in the way at all or damage anything. So it just won't really, how do I put this? It won't be effective in any sense of the word of being distracting or damaging. It'll just be kind of a little bit annoying if you don't like your latch to wobble at all. So you might want to go ahead and try the second method if you really want to. But the reason I say to be careful with the second method is because on this particular coating, like on the Tachyon 2 is a great example, if you happen to do your tweezers and you just kind of lose your grip and you scratch the handle, then this coating shows scratches very well, and it just looks ugly, and it also decreases the value of your knife. So you really don't want to do that, and it just makes it look really bad. So if you really can't get this method to work, as in when you try and move it this way, it just rolls off the edge, and I'll try and do a little demonstration here. Kind of taking a lot of effort actually. Roll off the edge like that. It just doesn't it just doesn't go in place like this, and it just rolls off the edge. Then you might want to go with method 2, but I would strongly recommend this version first, because all you have to do is slip 2 O-rings on top and make sure they're at the bottom of the latch, and you will decrease your range of motion. Also, you might be wondering, why don't you just use 2? Well, why don't you just use 1? Well, you could use 1, that is an okay method, but with 1, your range of motion increases. I don't know if it's double, but it definitely doesn't increase, so it could come closer to your handles, and it could come closer to getting in the way and damaging it, and it might eventually back up, like I said with the other one, where it will just eventually just turn back into your regular T-Latch and damage and get in the way. With the second one, it keeps your bottom O-ring in place, so it doesn't back up as fast or as long, and all you have to do, just like the other one, push these down back into place with your fingers occasionally, and you'll be good to go. So it will keep your latch stiff, little bit of wobble, but for the most part, it'll keep it very stiff and straight. So these are 2 methods that I have found to be very, very, very effective in keeping your latches stiff and straight and out of the way. So the O-rings are very effective in the sense that instead of having a very hideous rubber band, you can barely really see them because they're at the very bottom and they're just not that noticeable. So it keeps your knife looking, just pristine, not having all these like weird things like maybe hair bands or rubber bands or whatever on the bottom of your latch looking kind of weird. Keeps it all nice and just not undiscreet, I guess I would say. So it's a very nice way to keep your knife from being very stiff, not having the latch damage or get in the way, but also you get the looks of very incognito type look. So that's the end of my kind of tips for the O-rings, guys. Hope you liked it. So a couple of updates here before I end the video. I'm actually getting 2 new Balisongs in the mail soon. Should probably be getting those on Wednesday. That will kind of postpone my review series a little bit, but I plan to make some more videos on that after I get those in. I'll probably only flip them for a couple of days and then review them because I already have something in my collection that's kind of like those already, so I don't really need to be spending that much time on them. So that's just an update on my Balisong collection. It will be postponed until Wednesday. I'll do some more tip videos like this and some other type of videos in the meantime to just have some more videos flowing out there. So also my Tachyon 2, you're probably noticing why I have this out, because it's, as I've clearly stated, it's not really my favorite because you have to do a lot to it. Well, I finally caved and decided I was going to do a lot to it, so I ordered some stainless steel barrel spacers, got a new torque screw set, which I will be reviewing in another tip video, and I also got some O-rings for that. So starting to use the Tachyon 2 more, and I'm really liking it a lot. So that's the end of my video, guys. I would strongly recommend picking up some O-rings if you don't have them. I hope this tip helped you out a lot. So these are the two versions that I have found so far that O-rings work best in. The only thing that I have found on a Balisong that does not work with O-rings is the Benchmade 62. The barrel is just too skinny for these O-rings specifically. I'll show you a shot of these to even fit around. They just aren't a tight grip. It just kind of slides right through it. So the barrel's too small for those, but maybe if you found some smaller O-rings, you can make that problem go away. But yeah, that's the end of my tip video, guys. Hope you liked it. Actually had a lot of fun doing it. So thank you guys for watching. This has been The Knife Enthusiast. Subscribe, like this video, and I will see you next time.